Welcome back to Game Friend, I'm Craigo, and in this review episode I'm talking about Directive 8020, one of the biggest horror releases of the year. It's developed by Supermassive Games, the studio responsible for The Quarry, Until Dawn, and Dark Pictures anthology games. These are cinematic horror experiences, a choose-your-own-adventure sort of thing, where every decision has a consequence, featuring various branching pathways, multiple endings, and plenty of opportunities to have your head ripped off. Directive 8020 is much more of the same, really, taking the Supermassive formula and venturing far beyond Earth's atmosphere into deep space sci-fi, a first for the Dark Pictures series. Most of the story takes place aboard the Cassiopeia, a spacecraft sent from Earth to survey Tau Ceti F as a potential landing spot for human colonization. But before the ship arrives, it's struck by an asteroid containing a murderous alien life form. As it spreads throughout the ship, it's revealed to have this uncanny ability to shapeshift into near-perfect carbon copies of the human crew. The best way I can think to describe Directive 8020 is as though John Carpenter's The Thing took place in a spaceship.
Detain him in the secure storage area in geoscience.
Never quite knowing whether you can trust your crew gives the whole experience a tense case of heebie-jeebies, because at any given moment, any one of them could in fact be a great big alien monster man primed and ready for murder. Personally, I don't want to talk too much about the story because its twists and turns are easily the best thing about Directive 8020. Going into it with as little knowledge as possible is how I'd recommend getting the most out of the game, which is not great for the video, I'll admit, but I will tell you that it starts off really slow, like really slow, employing overused and predictable methods to establish danger, the stuff you see in movies, really. But by chapter 3, the narrative picks up significantly, introducing new story elements that will be sure to surprise you, and concludes in a very thrilling way, which is of course dependent on your choices throughout the game. I was pretty happy with my ending.
I'm warning you! Stay back!
Easy to say from behind a locked door.
Directive 8020 is an inspired horror, packed with nods and winks to the genre's great sci-fi horrors, but is sadly falls short of greatness itself as a result of some questionable gameplay designs. Now, I've not played one of these games since The Quarry, but as it turns out, not much has changed since 2022. Directive 8020 is split into 8 chapters, each with its own branching pathway, providing plenty of opportunity to explore different outcomes, life and death scenarios, and a bunch of hidden secrets.
No!
Access to these various paths is decided through conversations between crewmates, deciding how to solve problems, pressing buttons during QuickTime events, and perhaps one too many stealth sections.
Stay in the office till they're distracted.
Now, I'll admit I'm not the biggest fan of a QuickTime event. I think they can be a bit one-note, and tapping furiously to avoid getting snatched isn't exactly my idea of fun, but they are certainly better than Supermassive's attempt at stealthy gameplay. During the adventure, several members aboard the Cassiopeia will be split up from the group and stalked by a mimicking menace. The goal is always to move unnoticed from point A to B without alerting the monster, interfacing with locked doors, power supply nodes, and movable batteries to unlock alternate routes. Some of the early moments did get my blood pumping, exactly how they were supposed to be, until I had a face-to-face encounter with one of the beasties and realized that the AI was just straight up brain dead. Supposedly, these mimics are intelligent alien life, with access to memories of those they copy, so you'd think that accidentally making full eye contact with one of the crew that supposedly already knows you would result in a bloody mess, and not with me slinking away unnoticed.
How about I do us both a favor and put you out of business?
My problem with Directive 8020 is that the enemy doesn't feel alive in the majority of stealth sections that replace a large part of the Supermassive formula. Until Dawn made a name for itself with one of the most heart-pounding finales, where holding your controller perfectly still and pressing the right button kept you alive. Directive 8020 is mostly sitting and watching a PS1 level AI hit its marks while slagging you off and looking fabulous doing it. Not exactly thrilling.
Now, into the kitchen.
In my initial playthrough, I didn't get caught once, which made the pivotal turning points a little easier to manage. These moments are where things changed the most throughout Directive 8020. Turning points were effective for the most part. Decisions like choosing where to divert the ship's energy, who to save in a crisis, and whether to trust someone is telling you the truth and not a big horrid monster.
Why can't any of you give me a straight answer?
These tough decisions impact character motives, personality traits, and if nurtured, can inspire a character's chosen destiny to become, say, a philosopher or a hero, for example. Characters, for the most part, acted in line with the choices I made. There aren't any LA Noire doubting freakouts to catch you off guard, which is great, but I felt the turning points didn't come to a head until a singular moment in the later chapters. A fantastic singular moment to give it its flowers, proper tense stuff, and one I don't want to spoil, but it's a shame that the majority of turning points culminate in this one moment rather than sporadically throughout the whole game.
Oh god! She's trying to kill me!
It's my belief Directive 8020 could have been more brutal with the fates aboard the Cassiopeia. QuickTime events were notably easier to navigate than previous games, and in Explorer mode you can opt to rewind a bad decision and go from there. Something I didn't do on my first run.
We're okay. We're okay.
Rewinding is fine if you immediately want to change your outcome, but maybe not for earlier turning points, because ultimately you'll still need to play through the game to see its payoff. I think I'd rather start with a new game to explore the different character destinies and outcomes of the story. But it's a nice feature for completionists, and if you don't fancy having the temptation of being able to rewind, you can just play in survivor mode that doesn't have the option to do that. You'll have to live with your consequences. As a setting, the Cassiopeia is a fun change of scenery for supermassive games. Early on, the halls and corridors can feel a bit dull and empty, and you typically only explore the same rooms and halls as well. But as the story progresses and the alien lifeform takes hold of the ship, that's where Directive 8020 looks its best. Visually, it's a gorgeous game, with beautifully grotesque environments, some stellar character models and face scans that allow its star-studded cast to deliver some great performances. Considering you only ever really need to press a handful of buttons during exploration, I think a HUD toggle would benefit the immersion in this one. To be fair, I say that about every game, but I do think it would enhance the tension and the spookiness. And lastly, I played in quality mode on a base PS5 and only had one moment of stuttering in a pretty smooth experience overall.
Where are we?
Right where we're supposed to be. Within range of the marker and decelerating for orbit.
Directive 8020 is an inspired sci-fi horror, a slow burn spectacle full of great performance, replayability, a very memorable story, and thrilling set-piece moments. It's packed with nods and winks to the greats of the genre, but falls short of that greatness itself. Overused stealth sections and brain-dead AI enemies stifle an otherwise thrilling experience, which is why GameFriend is awarding it a 7 out of 10.
Would you look at that?
Directive 8020 is out now on PS5, Xbox, and PC, but I would love to know what you think of the game. Will you be playing it yourself? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. If you didn't, the dislike button, and subscribe if you're new. For more video reviews like this one, be sure to stick with your game friend. Until next time, cheerio!